in town to visit third place Atlanta. Center Arena, 10 miles south of downtown Atlanta, also home of the WNBA's Atlanta Dream. Hi, everybody. Along with Cameron Irwin, I'm Rich Burke. At the end of the regular season, 2 weeks from today, the top 4 teams in the league advanced to the playoffs. Houston clinched a playoff berth last night when Nebraska beat Austin. Salt Lake was the league's best team in the first half of the season. Atlanta's gone the other direction. Winners of 7 of their last 9. Nebraska got a big win last night to move ahead of Austin for the final spot. In the Love playoffs, which begin in 3 weeks, 2 would play 3. If these standings hold, this would indeed be a playoff preview.
Without question, this could be the dress rehearsal. What it could come down to with these razor-thin margins, who can differentiate them?
Presented by Adidas. Claire Hoffman is the reigning League One Volleyball Offensive Player of the Week. She had 23 kills and hit 524 in their last match. Presented by Adidas, second-year pro Julia Sangiacomo has stepped into a starting role at outside over the last 6 matches, hitting .345. Here's our first look at the scouting report.
Let's start off with Salt Lake. They have shades of gray, not just because they have Alexa Gray, but also Serena Gray out of the middle, one of the toughest middle attackers to have to face in League One volleyball. They want to utilize her as much as possible. They also need savage serving. How aggressive can they get from that service line to get Atlanta off the mark? For Atlanta, on the counter, they need to have perfect platforms. How good can that first contact be so that they can utilize their monster middles? And another point of emphasis for these two teams, who's going to end up winning the blocking battle today?
Yeah, and Atlanta has 3 great options at middle blocker. Hey, 2 coaches with tons of experience, each longtime assistants for national teams. Salt Lake's Tama Miyashiro with the USA, Atlanta's Paulo Coco with Brazil. This is the 4th and final meeting this year between these two. Atlanta has won 2 of the previous 3, both wins coming earlier this month. March 1st here, March 5th in a 5-set barn burner in Salt Lake City, 18-16 in the 5th. Atlanta leads the all-time series 5-2. This is a big one heading in to the final couple of weeks of the year and then the playoffs in 3 weeks.
You can see Mackenzie Adams, another point of focus for Atlanta, just really being able to utilize their outsides and find point scoring. That's been primarily loaded to the right side of the court with Montano, and on the opposite for Salt Lake, the point scoring has primarily come from that outside position.
Rachel Fairbanks, starting center, possible Olympian for the USA in 2028, sends it away and we're off and rolling. Here at Gateway Center. And immediately Salt Lake out of system. They go to Gray, who sends it down into the tape, and Atlanta gets the first point.
These are 2 of the toughest serving teams in League One volleyball, and Alexa Gray is going to see the majority of the first contacts her direction. She needs a steady platform.
Yep, they're 1 and 3 in keeping the opponents out of system. Now that very tight to the net. Poulter went for it. Sangiacomo was there, sent over by Jemerson. Bump set by Kojima, at a wrist away by Gray. She got dug by Adams. Back set. Montano going down deep corner and goes a little long. And we're even at 1.
But no surprise here, just in the first 2 rallies, who have made contact in terms of the attack. It's been all about Gray and Montano to start trying to get their heavy hitters the ball early.
An early challenge for Love Atlanta, whether or not there was a touch at the net on the swing by Montano. Each team has allowed 2 challenges per set. Very liberal because of the Hawkeye technology and the 40 cameras in the building. The resolutions come quickly. So Paulo Coco issuing the challenge.
Again, they're looking for a net fault.
A net fault or a touch at the net?
I believe a net fault, and it's the net is moving, so I can understand why they might be thinking, but I'm not seeing any sort of a net fault here.
Yeah, from what we can see there, and the challenge unsuccessful, so even at 1 here in this first set. Best of 5 sets, first 4 sets to 25. You of course have to win by 2, and the 5th set, if necessary, to 15. And the way these 2 teams go, 5th set might be necessary. There's a combo play in Mackenzie Adams. She has been excelling, one of the more underrated players in the league. Wednesday against Nebraska, 18 kills, hit .357. She received serve 14 times and passed at .643, which is a really good positive pass percentage.
Just watch how quickly they run their offense to Mackenzie Adams on the outside. Now she's in the back row, so you're going to have to wait 3 rotations. But it is quick.
Here's Alexa Gray, no relation. Fairbanks teeing up San Giacomo, who has her first kill, the second-year player out of Northwestern.
San Giacomo has been fantastic in the last 7 or so matches. She hits the high, deep seam. She's 6'5", and she is utilizing every inch of her height to her advantage.
Taking over that starting role from rookie Eva Hudson. Kojima's pass tight to the net. Adi Casanova with that heavy right arm of hers, a little crossbody.
What a fantastic set, though. Pass a little tight, and Poulter just able to throw up that one hand and redirect behind her head, creating a fantastic opportunity.
Adi Casanova, 10th-year pro. Gray's serve, targeting San Giacomo, whose pass was on the money, and Tia Jemerson from the right pin. In fact, pardon me, that was Yvonne Montano. And now Jemerson will go back and serve. So here comes Jemerson with the serve. Good pass, Casanova again. She gets rejected by San Giacomo.
And I love this from the Atlanta block. Like I mentioned, this could come down to who wins the blocking battle. And Magdalena Yahalasheva, one of the best blockers. She is a little more undersized than maybe some of the other middles, but my goodness, her read and her quick, explosive footwork really separates her.
You can see from that end zone view the way that float knuckled. Outside, San Giacomo got dug by Gray. Poulter. And there's Claire Hoffman. Hoffman saying that she got the touch.
These two are so near each other on a multitude of phases of the game. But what separates them right now, Salt Lake's transition offense is much higher than that of Atlanta's.
Service error for Serena Gray. Gray, one of the tougher servers in the league and keeping the opponent out of system. And now Montano will serve. Good pass by Hoffman, one of the best in the league. She tips it over, dug by Montano. San Giacomo, big swing, going for the high hands, and got him.
Well, and that's what you love in an outside, somebody that's able to go up on an out-of-system play, a tight ball. She's going to win that in terms of the height difference, but nice job staying high with her attack rather than trying to hit low C.
San Giacomo, 6'5". Last year, first year as a pro, played in Turkey, Vietnam, and Indonesia.
Montano needs to clean up those tosses, both of those. She managed the first toss and kind of kept that in. The second one, just a little too low.
Good pass by Adams. Back row attack, Montano. Excellent coverage by Poulter. Back row attack by Gray. And Pianette Pinoy couldn't dig it.
This match being their 4th of the regular season, you asked me before we started this, where might they find more offense or a difference, a new wrinkle? Well, I think it's really about how high they can get in terms of point scoring from the back row. You just saw 2 back row attacks from both Atlanta and Salt Lake.
Yahalasheva on the slide, dug by Kojima, one of the best in the business. And there is Hoffman using the block, and Salt Lake back within 1.
Whenever I talk about Claire Hoffman, I talk about how calculated and technical she is as an attacker. She really has been a steadying force on the outside for Salt Lake.
And of course, she and Kojima, 2 of the best passers in the league. And when you combine that with Poulter's setting, you really have a great weapon. There is Casanova off the soft block, dug by Adams. Montano D-ball going back line, didn't get it.
And I love this. You saw Montano attack on the Bic. That means the back row attack through the middle. And then this time they have her in that right back corner. So again, creating levels of attack across the entire length of the net.
Back even at 7, 3 consecutive points for Salt Lake. There's San Giacomo trying to stop that run, gets blocked by Jordan Poulter. Oh, setters love that, don't they?
Yes, and San Giacomo, that's really the first time I've seen her let that ball fall too low. She had to hit it at a lower angle, just a little miscue on the timing, and Poulter right on top of it.
Rich Burke, along with former Washington State setter Cameron Irwin, also played professionally overseas. Goes along for Casanova, but you'll take that. She served him on a good run.
Yeah, Salt Lake now even with that of Atlanta. Atlanta had that strong start thanks to the service pressure.
Julia San Giacomo's serve. Kojima's pass on the money. Dixon! Good work to keep it alive by Montano and company. There's a block. Talk about setters getting involved. Yehelasheva and Fairbanks involved in that block as well.
Yes, but what you missed here, watch this. She gets burned on the slide attack, so she does exactly what middle should do. She peels off instead of trying to create a late move with her hands. That was a desperation play, but it was a good play, able to play that up and then recycle back out. Impressive from Yehelasheva, even when she got burned.
Even when she got burned. Tied at 9, first set. Atlanta out of system. Adams trying to better the ball. Dug by Kojima. Poulter. Outside to Gray. Kojima with good coverage. Gray again. Second swing of a rally, and it's blocked again. It's again Yehelasheva and Fairbanks.
She has over 30 blocks on the season, and she's already added an extra 2. And really fun to watch, just her eye work, the efficiency there. She didn't shift back to the middle and played the percentages, ends up with the block.
Atlanta Yehelasheva will now serve. Played for her native Czechia last summer at the Worlds in Thailand. Poulter went for the dump, and Jefferson was there.
And Mackenzie Adams actually on the priority there because of the offense running in her direction. So you love when a left side blocker recognizes the tight pass.
Yehelasheva serve again. Lots of options here on the free ball from Fairbanks. It's Adams going high hands and didn't get him. And Salt Lake back within 1.
That's the challenge of running almost a zero tempo offense to the outside with Mackenzie Adams. In transition, you might need a second aloft.
Veteran Tori Dixon out of the University of Minnesota. Montano going deep corner, got it.
Not necessarily as much on the slide attack, but right. Oh, I thought they were going to go to her.
And Adams again.
A couple tight passes, something to watch on the side of Salt Lake. We've already seen Poulter try to dump 3 times here in set number 1, and that's been out of necessity.
Salt Lake out of system. Kojima goes to Gray, going for the high hands, didn't get him. And it's 14-10.
I just want to point out Montano, a little bit of a different look. This was just a few points ago, but watch the height of the set that they give to Montano. Just a total different look than the rest of their offense. They want her to be big and physical. When you have an attacker with her capability at that high point on contact, just go be an athlete, and that is how they've allowed Atlanta to excel on that right side.
Exceptional jumping ability, and she's 6'2".
Right now, looking at this challenge, though, looking for a touch off the block of Atlanta, and there is no touch called. You can see this is a great example. Look at how high Tia Jimerson's forehead is above the height of the net. That's simply absurd.
So 14-10 Atlanta. Atlanta's won 7 of their last 9.
A little bit early there. This is one of the skill sets that Alexa Gray has. I think she's a patient attacker, meaning she gets to the top of her jump, really recognizes the block and defense beneath her, and then decides exactly where she wants to go with the ball.
Sometimes we'll attack it on the way down.
Just like that last one.
There's a block by Casanova and Gray, and Salt Lake back within 2. Jordan Poulter serve. Parting San Giacomo. It's an ace for Poulter. Jordan Poulter dialing up her 9th ace this year against 19 service errors. And there's Tia Jemerson.
That goes right back to the scouting report. A perfect platform and a monster middle. San Giacomo will be tested as an attacker. That set off 1 foot, but well within the 10-foot line, able to run the middle attack. That is Atlanta to a T.
Perfect platform, monster middle. You had some alliteration working with the scouting report today.
I mean, you gotta have a little fun, right?
Yeah, that's right. 15-14 now.
Montano on that right side. Let's see if they go to her here. Not gonna have to.
And it's 16-14 Atlanta after the Gray service error.
This is the best blocking rotation for Atlanta right now. You got Yahalashva back in the front row alongside San Giacomo and Montano.
It's a lot of syllables. Poulter going to Gray. Yahalashva keeps it alive. There's Montano with the tip, puts it over the top. Yvonne Montano puts him up 17-14.
And even though that wasn't a stuff block, that's the kind of play you want. Being able to get the quick touch, recycle back out, and then go to Montano on the right side, who makes a great decision.
Casanova. Nice one-hand dig. Montano off the block and out. 18-14 Atlanta.
Had a little lucky there as Manami Kojima was on their reception. She is one of the best receiving liberos in the league. You want to try and stay away from her. They're going to be too in system if you are at a point in your volleyball career or an opportunity you don't see as often.
Yeah, and if I know Jordan Poulter, she'll be a single digit about a year after taking up the game. Hoffman, and there's a rejection for Yahalashva. 19-14 Atlanta.
It's funny, too, you think about it, Rich. We love to golf, and I'm sitting there going, I don't know. She's got game similar right. She said she can't drive, but her irons are fantastic.
Okay. Dial in that driver, and now we're talking.
Atlanta continuing to lead the blocking battle. I believe that's their 6th block in set number 1.
Combo play. Hoffman going down the line.
And you said it, a combo play. We call that the overload. It means you have a quick set or a gap set running on the middle attack with an even quicker set to the outside. So it's really forcing the overload on the opposing right side block. And you saw that, Claire Hoffman getting a one-on-one opportunity on the outside.
19-15 after the side out. Good work with Jemerson at the service line. Maddie Haynes in as a serving specialist. There's Montano. Gray tracks it down. Kept alive by Haynes. Poulter sends it over for a free ball. Atlanta trying to get to the red zone. 20 points. There's Montano. Kept alive nicely by Dixon and Casanova. San Giacomo tools the block. 20-15 Atlanta.
That's a big point for Atlanta because those first 2 kills from Montano didn't go down. So you feel like as a setter, you're behind in the rally. You're limited now on your opportunity. I have 2 different attackers, but they know I'm not going to Montano a 3rd time. So to be able to score in that type of a position within a rally is huge for Atlanta.
Of course, if you think they know you're not going to her for a 3rd time, you might
Maybe
go to her for a 3rd time. Tori Dixon. Wrist away, and Salt Lake gets the side out, back within 4. What do you want to see from Love Salt Lake?
More of that. I love Poulter is trying to kind of force that middle a bit right now to open up some more avenues of attack, setting the middle from the 10-foot line.
Yahalashva dials up a kill, side out Atlanta, and they move back up by 5.
And then I think just the passing right now for Salt Lake. We saw a couple early passes that put them in some bad situations that were too tight to the net, and I think that's why you're seeing the 5-point differential right now.
See if they can clean that up. There's a better pass. Gray out of the back row, and she goes wide. Attack air out of the pipe from Alexa Gray.
Yeah, just when they find the pass that they need, the error adds just another point to Atlanta. That's like salt in the wound.
Mm-hmm. Poulter going to Hoffman, and she gets the side out. Salt Lake within 5 here late in this first set. Hoffman will go back and serve.
Salt Lake likes to use the gap go, and Red, aka running Dixon more towards the middle of the court, maybe throwing that ball in the back row to Katie Casanova.
Yahalashva on the slide.
Atlanta is currently just a freight train. Defensively and now offensively. Look at this. Nobody home. There's a block in front, but just simply way too late to the outside towards that pin.
Elasheva comes out, and Beatrice Negrati will come in. Libero by trade, coming in as a serving and defensive specialist here. Elasheva, by the way, 2 kills, 2 blocks, 2 digs so far. There's Dixon on the slide, dug by Montano. That's set over the net, and Poulter took a swing at it. And it's set point for Atlanta.
This is the problem when you jump so high. As Poulter comes under the net to check on her. She actually took that one right off the dome.
Sometimes it works out. Negrati will serve again. Poulter going to Gray. Chance to end it here. Bump set by Negrati. Adams ends it. McKenzie out of Atlanta. Dominant in the first set at home.
I mean, what a way to respond. You get knocked in the head and...
And we're off and rolling in the second set. Sent over the top by Adams. That's a great set by Fairbanks, having to go to her knees. There's a rejection by Jemerson. One of those monster middles for Atlanta.
And yet another block. Jemerson shifting over to the right side. Look at this. 3 shuffle steps and then just drops down and back up. When you have an attacker right now like Alexa Gray that's struggling offensively, there's 2 options. You can either try and get her going by setting her continually, or you can reset by going somewhere else and trying to offload some of that pressure.
Love the Dikembe Mutombo finger wag there by Jemerson. Say, not on my turf. Montano speared by Claire Hoffman. Just punched over by Gray, just trying to keep it alive. Fairbanks going to Jemerson. Blocked by Serena Gray. Kept alive by Pinoy and San Giacomo. Alexa Gray, dug by Peanut Pinoy, who took a knee to the face. She's down. And the point goes to Salt Lake. Is Pinoy okay? Oh my goodness. She took a knee to the face, diving for this dig. Oof.
That is just a brutal shot for Pinoy. I hope she's doing okay right now. They are going to make sure she is attended to.
She is the #1 passer in the league, Peanut Pinoy. 17th year pro out of Thailand. So this may mean the libero jersey for Bea Negrati. And we certainly hope that Pinoy is okay. I think we saw Negrati trying to dig her libero jersey out of her bag. So Paulo Coco's starting libero is out for the moment, and we hope it's not too long.
Negrati has played in that libero position earlier this season. As she gets ready to go, Paulo Coco does have a ton of confidence in Negrati.
She's been playing pro for a long time, began playing professionally in her native Italy in 2015, 11th year pro now. Her team took second in the top Italian league 3 years ago. Beatrice Negrati.
Which I've never seen that before. I've seen collisions, but I've never seen one quite like that.
Atlanta right now in 3rd place. And Salt Lake is in 2nd. A win would put them into a tie, and Atlanta would have the tiebreaker, so they would be in 2nd place if they can knock off Salt Lake. Salt Lake needs 2 wins to clinch a playoff berth. Atlanta needs 2 wins and some help, or 3 wins. They have 5 matches remaining, and Salt Lake has 5 matches remaining as well. Salt Lake will finish with most of their matches on the road. For Salt Lake, today is their first of 4 straight on the road before their final match at home. Atlanta, meanwhile, including today, 4 of their last 5 matches at home. And there is the bracket. They will, the third and second teams will play twice in 3 days in Louisville, coming up here in 3 weeks. Casanova, overdig by Adams. Poulter, back row attack by Gray, off the hands, dug by Adams again, on the dime. Fairbanks, San Giacomo. Go back to a great dig right on the money from Mackenzie Adams, and that allowed Fairbanks to find San Giacomo quickly.
When we spoke with Tama Miyashiro, the head coach for Salt Lake, she mentioned San Giacomo and how fun it has been to watch her progress throughout her playing experience this season, feeling like she really has diversified some of her offensive range.
Not a great pass there by Alexa Gray. Kojima trying to cover things up, couldn't do it. 3-1 Atlanta.
Salt Lake needs to find more offense out of their middle and their right side right now. There's just way too much loading up towards the outside attack, resulting in yet another block.
Salt Lake has lost 5 of their last 6. They're coming off a win. There's the wrist away for Serena Gray. They get one back.
And that is a high-level play, starting all the way from the pass from Kojima. Look at this, defending area 1 of the court, and then an extended set wrist away, one-on-one, high-level volleyball on the side of Salt Lake.
Gray serves, and it's a service error. Serena Gray gained a lot of confidence last fall at Athletes Unlimited. She's coming out right now. Salt Lake was able to play at a high level coming into the season because they had 11 players that played at Athletes Unlimited. But I ask on the back end of that, is there fatigue maybe that's going on right now? One-hand diving dig by Montano. San Giacomo off the soft block. Hoffman was there. Poulter teeing up Haiti Casanova off the block and out of bounds. And Casanova with a kill. Salt Lake back within 1.
I like the dig from Montano in that right back corner, and the fans did as well. This is a full layout extension, an old school over-the-shoulder roll. That's how we used to do it when I was little.
How do they do it now?
You barrel roll, so you go from one side to the other.
I see, okay. San Giacomo, wrist away, dug by Hoffman. Hoffman on the joust. Good work from her knees to keep it alive by Poulter. Fairbanks going to San Giacomo again. Cross body, dug by Casanova, read it well. Hoffman sends it over, looking for some open floor, but Mac Adams was there. Yahelasheva on the slide, blocked by Hoffman.
You want momentum shifter for Salt Lake? It's right there from Claire Hoffman, slowing down the slide attack, going one-on-one. And there's going to be a challenge here, looking to see if Claire Hoffman contacted the net. But this is a true skill of an outside. Can you block against the slide? It takes great vision and recognition of where that set location is versus just paying attention to the takeoff of the middle off 1 foot.
Claire Hoffman, high IQ volleyball player, and able to read that one well. And it could be a net violation earlier in this point. When coaches issue a challenge, they throw a red flag. Watch the upper left-hand corner of your screen. You can see the flag thrown by Paulo Coco pointing across the net.
Reminds me of the Army parachuters that I used to throw from the top of the stairs.
Yes, that would never work. Or maybe they'd work once and then they'd break.
So this is earlier, so not necessarily checking that of Claire Hoffman on the slide attack, but making the play here after the joust with Magdalena Yahelasheva. This is going to be a great look right here. Comes down. I don't believe she found the bottom of the net by any means. I think it's a clean play from Hoffman.
This one taking a little longer than they normally do. If it sticks, Salt Lake will be even at 4.
Oh, she actually, I'm watching another view of the replay. She may have contacted the bottom of the net. Let's see what our officials decide.
Salt Lake was the best team in the league, but then they dropped 5 consecutive matches. Houston began to short serve them in one match, and then the rest of the league caught on. Elasheva gets the side out for Atlanta. They're back up 5-4.
That's my favorite set to use. Just being able to run a gap set allows you to find your middles in less than opportune situations. A little more space away.
Hopping off the soft block, and Negrati reaching for it and couldn't get it. Salt Lake gets the side out. They're back even at 5.
If I'm Salt Lake, I am trying to find San Giacomo, and specifically, I want to try and serve her deep into the court. Can I make her lift up that platform? Just like that.
And there you go, right on cue. Overpass. Dixon unable to put it down. Good work by Atlanta, and then Adams. Great call, Cameron.
On the money, but have to be able to find that next consecutive play.
There's Dixon on the slide. Mackenzie Adams doing good work at the net. She has a couple of blocks. 7-5 Atlanta.
And this is simply just not the start for Gray. You can see the frustration right now on her face. You got to be able to work yourself back out of this. And right now, focus on the next contact.
MVP of A1 in Italy 3 years ago. Back row attack by Claire Hoffman. Free ball for Jordan Poulter. Back row attack, Hoffman again. This time gets the job done.
My goodness, that was a perfect set. Well in rhythm was Claire Hoffman coming out of the back row. And they sure are running that quick. Without question on that second step, if not faster, out of the back row.
Hoffman right now won that job as the second outside away from Ronnie Jones-Perry. Dig on the dime from Hoffman. Fairbanks went for the dump and gets it done. Second in the league in kills by a setter to Madison's Lauren Carlini.
And this is a different kind of approach to the dump. Recognizing the block still right next to her. She knows she's got to go up and over the top. She can't necessarily power through it with her left hand. That means if the block goes up with her, right there, there's going to be room just beyond it. It's hard for the blocker to come down and play that ball.
When Fairbanks was a sophomore at Pitt, she spent time not only setting but also hitting. So accomplished attacker herself. Montano and Jemerson on the block. And it's 9-6 Atlanta.
And not just 9-6, it's also 9 total blocks for Atlanta as opposed to 3 on Salt Lake.
Out of system here, and they go outside to Gray, over the top. Kept alive by Fairbanks and Adams. Put down by Jemerson. How about that? Adam up now 10.
And that block probably the most unorthodox of the preceding 9 because it's off of a tip. She has to delay so long on the back row attack and the slower pace.
It was like a slam dunk. A lot of knuckling on that float. Casanova going back line and gets it. Haiti Casanova.
For Rachel Fairbanks, I think this is an area of her game where she really could take another step forward just defensively. As a setter, you don't necessarily want to contact the ball. It means you can't run the offense. But there is still a need to protect your side of the court.
Mackenzie Adams tools the block. Adams now with 4 kills in 9 swings. Also has 2 blocks and 7 digs. Chance to go up by 5. It's Jemerson. Gray with a block covered up by Adams. San Giacomo dug by Kojima. Poulter, back row attack. Hoffman, back line.
Was that ball in bounds?
I believe it was.
Claire Hoffman now 2 for 2 out of the back row in the last 6 or so swings. If I'm Jordan Poulter, I'm going to try and find her that much more often because it's just a one-on-one opportunity, just like a middle attack might be. Out of the back row, it's the same.
Montano. There's Gray and Hoffman on the block. Pancake effort by Negrati. Couldn't get it done. Salt Lake. Consecutive points now. They're back within 2.
And they tried to serve the left sideline of San Giacomo, but again, I think it's more with San Giacomo about pushing her into the depth of the court. She's doing a better job of some of those lower angles to her side and out in front of her.
Let's see who Gray targets here.
There's that depth.
Negrate. Montano. Serena Gray off the soft block at Jemerson. Back row attack, Mac Adams. And she had her foot on the line.
So a foot fault violation. As a back row attacker, you must jump from behind that 10-foot line or 3-meter line. And you are able to land in front of it, but you must start your jump.
3-0 run for LOVB Salt Lake. It's about the time in the first set where Atlanta really began to take charge.
There's a look at that foot fault violation.
Fairbanks going to San Giacomo, crossbody down the line, and puts them up by 2. LOVB Atlanta struggled to begin the year, but they win this one, and they'll have the tiebreaker. 2 will meet 3 in the playoffs, which begin in less than 3 weeks. There's Hoffman, and she tools the block, gets one back for Salt Lake. 12-11 Atlanta.
So this is where it starts to shift for Salt Lake. You recognize your big gun right now, which is going to be Claire Hoffman. She's been really steady for them. Whereas you eliminate some of the pressure on Alexa Gray. I use Claire Hoffman now, front row, back row, and then see if you can get one more attacker going into the mix.
Hoffman with 8 kills. Service error there, 13-11 Atlanta. And Montano will serve. Tori Dixon, lunging dig by Montano. San Giacomo. Back row attack by Gray. Another block for Yehalasheva. Her third. They have 4 players with 2 or more blocks.
They're simply on a riot defensively at the net right now. Atlanta, look at this. There's the shift. You can see the recognition. Solo block and the late left-hand push from Yehalasheva to pick up another.
Casanova, and another one for Yehalasheva. Consecutive rejections.
She's ahead in the rally right now and a little bit ahead of just the offensive scheme of Salt Lake. Because Salt Lake is trying to find who can score points, she's tracking that just as much as Jordan Poulter is trying to find answers.
Casanova went for the pancake as that one skitters across the tape. It's an ace for Montano. That's her 4th service ace this year. 16-11 Atlanta. Again in the first set. This is about the time where they began to take charge, and they're doing it again in the second. Atlanta's team record for blocks is 18. That was set March of last year against Houston. And Hoffman gets a side out for Salt Lake. They get back within 4.
And you want to just keep going to her. She is hitting over 250 right now, one of the better numbers on the floor. Serena Gray, you might look to her. She's only been able to see 6 total sets.
How about the great work by Fairbanks to keep that ball alive? Goes for the dump and gets it done. That point was all about the setter, Rachel Fairbanks.
Showcasing her ability to throw the ball down just as much as she's got the finesse. She has the power as a setter.
We talked about her under Dan Fisher at Pitt, having spent some time as an attacker as well. Did you do much of that, Cam?
Not to that degree. It's always a double-edged sword when you go to set or dump, because if you don't score, you feel like you've stolen an opportunity from one of your attackers. And so you want that ball to go down. Your efficiency needs to be above 800 on that.
Right. She would spend time 3 rotations as setter and 3 as an attacker during her time at Pitt, especially as a sophomore. 17-14 consecutive points now for Salt Lake. And there's an ace for LOVB Salt Lake, back within 2.
This is a rotation. They can go at San Giacomo in position 1. That's the right back corner. She stays a little bit closer to the net than most in the back row because she can kind of take that ball overhead.
Poulter goes to Hoffman out of the back row. No touch at the net and went long. Side out Atlanta. They're back up by 3. So just when Salt Lake closing in, Atlanta gets a key side out. Tori Dixon goes back to a great pass from Hoffman. How great is it for Salt Lake to have 2 of the best passers in the league in Hoffman and Kojima?
Well, this gives you the opportunity to run Tori Dixon on a slide attack, and actually that time they kept it a bit closer to the setter, trying to find a new angle of attack.
Service error puts Salt Lake down by 3.
Really don't want to find a missed serve this late, but you also feel like you kind of need to risk it because you are trailing.
Salt Lake now 5 service errors. Fairbanks serve. What a great pass by Kojima, and the quick to Serena Gray, side out Salt Lake.
I hope you could catch that as a viewer, the communication. That was an audible from Serena Gray. Because this pass was pushed well to the right side of the floor, she was supposed to run a set behind the setter. Instead, she's calling in front, changes and audibles to a different location.
Pancake by the setter Poulter. Montano off the block of Gray, covered up by Adams. Adams takes a swing, goes off speed. Lunging play by Poulter again. This time, point Atlanta. Jordan Poulter. Great defensive work, but Atlanta still gets the point.
The off-speed stuff has to be defended, and Poulter finds the pancake on the first. But they've got to be able to clean up some more of those touches and find their offensive rhythm. That's going to be the difference maker here now into the red zone for Atlanta.
Red zone, 20 points. Atlanta getting their first for the second straight set. Poulter going to Gray. Dug by Fairbanks. Montano. Dug by Kojima. Poulter. Casanova off the soft block. Negrati there. Fairbanks. Jemerson. And Tia Jemerson comes up with a kill. That's her second.
Atlanta's middles are just so quick as blockers. So even if they start to shift one direction and prioritize one attacker, their ability to make up the difference, even if they're late and still get a positive block touch, has really allowed their offense and defense to excel.
Too strong for Mac Adams. Got some breathing room, 21-18 now. Skylar Fields in at opposite, in place of Haiti Casanova. Alexa Gray serve. Service error. She has had some struggles in this match, hasn't she?
It's been a few service errors actually on both sides of the net in this late second set. 7-5 for Salt Lake. But Skylar Fields, this could be a really nice benefit to them, as Haiti Casanova not able to find much of an offensive rhythm. Maybe Fields can produce.
Serena Gray, second swing of the point, gets the side out for Salt Lake, back within 3. Atlanta perfectly happy to trade side outs at this point.
That's a heck of a set. You go back-to-back consecutive swings for Serena Gray. They want to get her more involved, but here's the first. Watch the second. It's a fadeaway jumper from Poulter. Look at this. Goes off 2 feet, falling away, and still delivers. When we talked about how she wants to expand her game, she said just having flexibility in all of her footwork patterns. That was a great example.
San Giacomo got dug by Hoffman. Here's Hoffman with a swing. Off the block and out of bounds, a point for Claire Hoffman. Salt Lake back within 2.
For Jordan Poulter, she has been dealing with just some health, right? Throughout this season, she's been on and off the floor, and we've talked specifically about recognition of passers' platforms and how important that has become for her, so that she can be so quick to the ball and have an earlier read than maybe what she previously had, allowing her to really set off of unique footwork patterns And it's so interesting. When you start as a setter, they kind of put you into one footwork pattern. But as you grow, you learn to go off 1 foot, 2 feet, falling away, moving forward, different contact points in regards to the location on your head. And she really has such flexibility in every way she sets the ball.
And her head coach is Tamamiya Shiro, and of course that was an assistant with Team USA when she was coming back from her knee injury leading into the Paris Games. And Poulter told us that Tamamiya Shiro still has an excellent, very clean platform and worked with her a ton and would actually change it a little bit to help Jordan grow and learning more nuances from different passers.
Yeah, and that's what's fun too, is just there is so much continuity between Mia Shiro and Jordan Poulter, having worked together for so long.
Yehelasheva putting it down. Atlanta maintains the upper hand. 23-20 here in the second set. Just when you thought Salt Lake was going to get back into it.
My big question for Atlanta, can they sustain their passing? Right now, that is simply perfection. But throughout this season, at times, it has started to dwindle at different points in a match.
Skylar Fields, her first swing, and gets her first kill. She'll go back and serve.
Be impactful. As soon as you hit the floor, how impactful can you be? Skylar Fields will attack out of the back row. Let's see how much they go to her.
Saw her take over a match earlier this year.
Great serve.
Salt Lake to get back within one, but how about that over the net? Still hop, and it's point Atlanta reaching over the net.
So they're going to call Jordan Poulter over the net because she's a back row player. Actually, here she's not a back row player because Fields is in the back row. She's front row.
So she's pleading her case.
Wow, that's an interesting call.
But still a mistake by Salt Lake.
Usually this goes in favor of the setter when she's front row because she's attempting to set this ball.
So explain the official rule here. What has to happen to reach over?
So this would traditionally be called, in my opinion, more of a violation if Poulter was in the back row because she would have broke the plane of the net. However, here she's front row, so technically she can be an attacker above the height of the net. But she's actually going up to set this ball. In my opinion, traditionally this has gone the direction of the setter, not the blockers.
Challenge unsuccessful, point Atlanta. They're ahead 24-21. But you go back to that free ball, and the dig was what was close to the net. That shouldn't have been the case.
Also true. So the argument here, you just heard the words that Poulter had to play the ball before it broke the plane, but Poulter is just arguing the fact simply that she's front row. She has the ability to go up and play the ball at the plane of the net. I agree with her.
Dixon gets one back for Salt Lake. And if I know Jordan Poulter, she'll use that as motivation heading into the third set, regardless of what happens here.
You know that phrase, don't poke the bear?
Right.
It's done been poked.
Uh-huh. And that one goes long. Or was it in? Paulo Coco raised his hands as if he thought it was out.
Into the starting lineup for set 3.
Atlanta gunning for a sweep here at home. It's Serena Gray with other thoughts on her mind, which gets the first point for Salt Lake in the third set.
I talk about searching for offense. Well, they found their answer in Serena Gray in set 2. She only had 4 attempts in set 1. She doubled that in set 2 up to 8.
Montano off the block and out of bounds. Ivan Montano evens it up here at 1 in the third set.
Montano has been a little quiet, but not in a bad way. It's actually nice that Atlanta has just been able to point score elsewhere.
Yeah, 5 kills for San Giacomo, 5 kills for Mackenzie Adams, 4 for Magdalena Yehelasheva. And there's an ace for Mackenzie Adams.
And actually, interestingly enough, Montano had 8 attempts in set number 2. She did not have a single kill, so they were actually able to quiet her.
It was interesting when Tessa Grubbs went down with the injury on February the 7th. That is the match where Atlanta began their 6-match winning streak. It seemed to free everybody else up in an odd sort of way. Paintbrush for Gray, pancake by Negrate. San Giacomo got dug by Poulter, bump set for Kojima. Here comes Hoffman, and Claire Hoffman gets it done for Salt Lake, and they're back even at 2.
What will help Claire Hoffman in this third set, again, is finding her counterpart. She has been pretty solid to this point. Dixon has done a nice job. They may look to her to be a little bit more that blocking force. However, a couple more offensive points out of Dixon can help alleviate some of that pressure.
San Giacomo had some big moments in this one. The second-year professional out of Santa Clara and Northwestern.
Well, and there's that range. This is where she challenges middle back defenders, because at times she can go into the seam or the heavy angle, but the high ball down the line is that third shot, kind of the trifecta.
It's unlike golf where you want a very narrow dispersion. In volleyball, you'd like a nice wide dispersion.
And so much of your block is supposed to take away that ray of attacks, right? But when you have an attacker like San Giacomo that can hit the high hands and the high seam, it really forces the middle back defender to have to choose where to go.
Yeah, one way or the other. Overpass, Poulter got dug by Negrate. San Giacomo putting it down. How about Beatrice Negrate in there because of the injury to Pina Pinoy, who took a knee to the face in the second set. Negrate comes in and a fantastic dig there off a swing from Poulter.
It's even more fun when you dig on an open net. That means no blockers in front of Poulter, and you just say, yeah, show me your best.
Poulter had the option to go on the slide. Still able to get 4 hands in front of Claire Hoffman. San Giacomo, and she tools the block. 8 kills.
Everywhere you look right now on Atlanta's roster, you feel like they are finding offense. Point scoring from the right side all the way to the outside.
Paulo Coco's team trying to win for the 8th time in the last 10 matches. Kept alive by Fairbanks. Here comes San Giacomo, finding some open floor. 9 kills for the second-year pro.
And not a single one of those in the same location. She hits the heavy cross court, and now this is not even straight up line. This is low seam, a place she hasn't attempted to hit.
High toss by Montano. Her second service error. Side out Salt Lake, 6-4 Atlanta.
Salt Lake hasn't really tested the short serve. I'll be curious to see if they throw that in the mix.
Delasheva. Atlanta with her 5th kill. They have 4 players with 5 or more.
San Giacomo's passing has withstood the test of Salt Lake so far, so you either need to find a different depth of serve or a new target.
8-4 Atlanta. San Giacomo entered this one with 6 aces, 4 service errors. More aces than errors this year for Julia San Giacomo. A pass by Hoffman. Ronnie Jones-Perry, her first swing of the match. Second swing. Mistiming there between Fairbanks and Adams. There's Montano with a D ball. 9-4 Atlanta.
And as much as they run that quick offense to the outside, the outlet still remains on that right side out of the back row. Montano well within rhythm.
San Giacomo's serve. Rare overpass for Hoffman. Good work by Manami Kojima. Ronnie Jones-Perry off the soft block. Dug by San Giacomo. There's Mac Adams. Second swing of the rally. Dug by Skylar Fields. Jones-Perry Sends it over. Yehlasheva, a little mistiming there. D-ball again, Montano, cross court, and gets the job done. 10-4, good buddy. Atlanta leads by 6.
What a creative set right here from Rachel Fairbanks. She faces the net, fakes that she's actually gonna go up and attack that ball, and then back sets a D-ball. I have not seen a set like that in years. That is simply impressive.
What a deke by Rachel Fairbanks. And by the way, in this match with Poulter for Salt Lake and Fairbanks for Atlanta, we are possibly seeing this setter duo for the U.S. and the LA games in 2028.
Yes, and what makes it so fun to watch these two setters go head-to-head is they really have differing styles. Right, with Jordan Poulter, she has one of the highest contact points you can see in a setter. We already talked about her flexibility of footwork. Her strength on contact also stands out. It has to when you have a contact point as high as hers. She also kind of delays a little bit on her way down as she sets so that it's even less time for an opposing block to have to read against the setter. For Rachel Fairbanks, it's really impressive just to watch her arm strength. She likes to go off 2 feet a little bit more. We call her a bit more of a long string setter. There's another look at that insane set. And also, she's told me she likes to be risky. This is a perfect example, the creativity on display. But she really likes to challenge some of those longer sets, and one of her best is actually the set to the right side of the court.
Fairbanks won the job last year after getting signed 5 days before the season started in the wake of an injury to Marta Beckes, who was supposed to be their backup setter. And Fairbanks came in and won the job. 11-5 now. Atlanta leading Salt Lake. Jimerson comes back in.
Don't want to miss that swing, Montano. That was just simply smooth out of the back row.
Short serve and an ace.
Adding just a bit more fuel to the fire of Atlanta right now.
They're gunning for a sweep. They have a 7-point lead in the third. Time ABCA All-American, National Freshman of the Year in 2019, and the NCAA rally scoring career leader in blocks, 759. She benefited from the 5th year because of COVID. Magdalena Yehlasheva.
Might throw Sarah Silvernail's name in the mix as well in those chronicles.
There's Adams. Mackenzie Adams. Side out Atlanta. They maintain control here in the third, gunning for a sweep. They're ahead 13-7.
Tough position right now for Salt Lake. I would love to see that passing just increase and really look to Fields. She can be electric. Maybe she can change the tide here. Still in the front row. And another pass.
Yeah, and Jimerson takes care of business. Everything rolling Atlanta's way right now in this match and in this season. Looking for their 8th win in their last 10 matches.
And there's Ronnie Jones-Perry on the outside. That's exactly what they need as she tracks back to the service line, trying to find more offensive weapons. Fields still in the front row.
Jones-Perry didn't play Saturday against Nebraska. Previous match also against Nebraska, had 12 kills and hit 429. Side out Atlanta, 15-8.
How on earth they were able to score that point from an out-of-system position. Really impressive swing from the exterior of the court.
Now Mackenzie Adams, one of the more underrated players in the league. Pancake for Fairbanks. Skylar Fields.
Just a little too shallow on the defense there for Rachel Fairbanks, but right back to Fields. You want to find somebody that's going to take over a match. Give her the opportunity. See the hand signals right now from Rachel Fairbanks?
But I wonder if they give verbal signals in Farsi.
You know what? We used to do that at Washington State. You're right on.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, I've heard you say
True.
that.
Oh, yeah.
You had an assistant coach who spoke Farsi, and so you would give verbal signals in that language.
Yeah, that's an old one. That one's from the archive, Rich. I'm trying to remember some of them. My coaches would be upset with me.
Montano, dug by Jones-Perry, Fields again. Second swing of the rally for Skylar Fields. Dug by Fairbanks. Set Negrete. Montano tools the block. Side out Atlanta. They're back up by 7. And remember, Love Atlanta, including today, 4 of their last 5 at home. They'll have the Love match of the week at home against Nebraska, 8 o'clock Eastern at OTE Arena. That'll be on USA Network on Wednesday with Shelby and Courtney on the call. Next Saturday, home against Madison. And then Thursday the 2nd at Madison. They wrap it up at home 2 weeks from today. Last day of the regular season at home against first place Houston. Hoffman dug by Adams. Bumps at Fairbanks. Free ball coming here for Salt Lake. They need this one and a lot more. Skylar Fields off the block, covered up by Kojima. Hoffman. One-hand dig by Jemerson. Jemerson keeping it alive on a free ball. But that was outside the antenna.
What a bummer. I feel like one of the added elements for Atlanta through the later portion of the regular season now is this defense really protecting the middle of the floor. Earlier, they struggled to pick up some of those kind of off-speed shots, the ricochets, and right now it feels like something they excel at.
Fields going for the high hands, didn't get him.
There's going to be a touch here. Yeah, I think I actually heard it.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised the challenge is coming on the side of Salt Lake. Probably a touch here on San Giacomo.
So Tama Miyashiro issuing the challenge, throwing that red flag in the air.
Yep, there's that touch off San Giacomo. You can see her hand moving.
Challenge successful, 16-11. Field serve. Good pass by Adams. Fairbanks teeing up Yehelasheva. Magdalena now with 6 kills in 10 swings. Hitting .500, also 4 blocks and 3 digs.
There was no question on that swing. She went up and knew exactly where she wanted to go with the ball. No hesitation.
High toss by Montano. Hoffman tools the block.
Montano's serve is a great example of the toss being so important. And a serve, it's almost as if it's like a set where you have to figure out exactly the right time and is it the right ball to really get after. She does a nice job controlling the ones that aren't perfect.
She had a couple earlier in this one that were out in front of her, I think, that resulted in service errors. Jones-Perry, dug by Adams, tied to the net. A net violation against Atlanta, and Salt Lake back within 4.
Fairbanks a bit stunned on the call there. She may have just clipped it on her way down from that block. Sometimes as a setter it becomes challenging because you know you have to go up and fully extend a block, but you know you have the secondary contact, so you have to peel off the net quickly.
Yehelasheva. Another kill for her after a great pass from Mac Adams. 18-13 Atlanta. Salt Lake late in these sets just unable to close the gap. Along with the 7 kills and 4 blocks, Yehelasheva has 3 digs and a service ace. San Giacomo's serve. Fields. Another block for Atlanta. That matches their season high with 13.
Right on the scouting report, Mac Adams knows that Skylar Fields likes to attack down the line out of the back row. She takes that extra step to her left.
3 blocks for Mackenzie Adams. Paintbrush for Tori Dixon, and it works out. Side out Salt Lake. Atlanta just about to get to the red zone. Anything Salt Lake can do at this point to turn this around.
It's got to come down to clean passing. The cleaner the pass, the more efficient the offense becomes, not only because you're able to run an easier ball as a setter, but it also forces the blockers to stay home. They can't start cheating towards the big-time attackers on the pin.
Mary Lake in as a serving specialist. Montano out of the back row goes long. 19-15 Atlanta, and Lake will serve again. Mary Lake out of BYU, 27 years old. Began coaching 16-year-olds at Club V, a Love affiliated club, and that re-inspired her love of the game. Cross body for Adams goes wide. Salt Lake back within 3. Timeout taken by Atlanta, just trying to slow this down a bit. A 7-3 run for Salt Lake. Atlanta has been able to turn aside every charge for Salt Lake so far in this match. Let's again revisit our scouting report.
Started off with Salt Lake. I gave them a grade of D because Shades of Gray, not necessarily the best match for Alexa Gray out of the middle. Serena Gray, she's done a nice job, but they're serving not up to par, as Atlanta has really been in system for the majority of this match. For Atlanta, perfect platforms, that is a grade A without question. They've been in system more often than not, able to run their middles, their right sides, their outsides, front row, back row, you name it. And of course, those monster middles have paid off. We talked about Magdalena Yahalasheva, and Tia Jimerson also has done a really nice job in this matchup.
Check out the blocks for Atlanta. 13 as a team. That ties their season high.
4-3-2-2. That's pretty perfect when you look across the front.
Over dig. Fairbanks. Couldn't capitalize on that. Jones Perry, diving dig by Negrate. Fairbanks, Yahalasheva. Lunging dig by Hoffman, but it was on the other side, wasn't it?
There's no call.
No call yet.
What's the call? They're going to review it before, I assume they're going to review it before the call was even made.
Side out Atlanta, 2016. Ronnie Jones-Perry chasing this one outside the net, across the line.
This is an awesome play right here, and legal. When you play the ball outside the antenna, you must bring it back outside the antenna for that third shot to then be sent over the net. Great hustle on their side. Didn't come away with it, though.
Service error, 2017 Atlanta. Yeah, Alexa Gray in this one. Just 2 kills, 20 swings, 8 attack errors. Got blocked 4 times. So, indeed, not her day. And the two teams trade service errors. Atlanta now 4 points away, and Rachel Fairbanks will serve. Salt Lake entering play on February 21st. 8-1. They'd won 7 straight. They're about to drop their 6th in their last 7. Unless they can turn things around. And Serena Gray with thoughts of doing that.
Feels like almost every attacker has put themselves in a good position on the side of Atlanta. I go right back to kills, total kills and total points, as you see Montano trying to find the chase there. Not a single attacker on the side of Atlanta is in the top 6 in the league. That means that everyone is getting a shot at the ball.
22-18. Bad time for a couple of service errors for Love Salt Lake. Mackenzie Adams to serve. High toss there. Overpass. Fairbanks going to Jimerson. Dug by Poulter. Bumps at Kojima. Gotta have it. And they do from Claire Hoffman.
What stepped up on the side of Salt Lake is their defense. A couple more down defensive digs that have created some transition opportunities and extended these rallies. No longer does a quick side out. You're seeing the ball travel over the net 3 to 4 times.
Jimerson covered up by Adams. San Giacomo covers it up herself. Montano, she goes long.
So Salt Lake is playing into the grind mentality right now. There's the 2 blocks, so defense in the front court as opposed to the back court, hoping that an error is going to come on the other side for Atlanta. That's a tough way to win matches. It's exhaustive, and it really creates just a high level of execution throughout extended rallies.
Did get the error that time. San Giacomo going for the high hands. Didn't get him. But look at this. Salt Lake back within 1. Atlanta wants to talk about it. They're going to throw the red flag here and see if there was a touch.
Also just a nice way to slow down the match when Atlanta is surging, or excuse me, Salt Lake is surging.
And the point stays with Salt Lake.
Must slow the rhythm of Salt Lake right now. It gives Paulo Coco just an extra second to talk with his team.
Atlanta can maintain upper hand if they can get the side out right now. Adams Agrate, San Giacomo serve receive, and it goes wide from Grace. Service error at a critical time. 23-21 Atlanta.
Rich, we call that icing the server. Anytime you can stall them at that line. Well played by Atlanta.
Off a block by Montano, and it is match point for Atlanta. And if Atlanta wins this one, they will move into a tie for second with Salt Lake, but they will have the season series 3-1. This could be a playoff preview, a matchup of 2 and 3. And Jimerson trying to serve him across the finish line. Dixon prolongs things, 24-22. Kill for Tori Dixon.
Also setting the standard. If Atlanta does pick this up, that'd be 3-1 in the regular season in terms of victories over Salt Lake, and that's going to give you some confidence knowing that you're heading into the playoffs.
Atlanta leads the all-time series 5-2. Natty Bug comes in to serve for Salt Lake. Her first appearance in the match. A chance to win it right here. They go to San Giacomo, off the block and out of bounds. And Atlanta sweeps Salt Lake. They move into a tie for second, and officially they are in second because they have the tiebreaker.
An impressive performance from Atlanta. You look across the board and it's simply positive numbers. Whether